but I believe they will be right there. Them, and I'm jumping on this bandwagon as of right now, Clippers.
Okay.
The Clippers will make the playoffs.
Whoa!
That is a very
Whoa,
bold
crap.
statement.
Almost had a heart attack when he
Make
said
the
that.
playoffs. I believe the Clippers will make the playoffs.
So,
You took my Oklahoma City Thunder. I was going to talk about the Thunder. But definitely not the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers will be that good, although I do think Blake Griffin will be a terrific player. I think in the East, I don't know, there's really not anybody that sticks out in my mind as far as besides the contenders. But I agree with Oklahoma City is for my a surprise team because they're young, they're athletic, they can get up and go. The only thing is can they really defend the basketball?
my surprise this year, and really it's not really a surprise, really, but the Boston Celtics really returned to glory this year. Last year with Kevin Garnett couldn't play at the end of last year, probably hurt those teams in the playoffs. But really, I think with the addition of Rasheed Wallace on that team, they've stepped it up. Now if Kevin Garnett goes out, what happens now? You put in a guy like Rasheed Wallace who can hit 3-pointers as well as being inside. So I got to say that I think with Rasheed Wallace, you give a big surprise. Do you put them back ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers?
All right, now that we did surprise, we need to move on to disappointment, guys. So what is your NBA's disappointment?
This is going to be my team, but the only reason why I'm giving them a disappointment is not necessarily a disappointment. It's just because the injury bug has hit them the hardest, which I would give it to the Houston Rockets. I'm a T-Mac fan all the way, but with T-Mac not being there and Yao not being there, the Rockets, it's going to be tough. And a surprise team that I believe that might do bad this year, it might be the Mavericks. They might make the playoffs, but the Mavericks, I really believe that they could cough it up and fall out of the playoffs.
With this season, it's crazy. You talk about the Rockets being a disappointment. It'd be clearly a disappointment from last year.
Yeah.
And I would pick somebody like the New York Knicks, who I think are always a disappointment. New Jersey, always a disappointment. But my disappointment this year, as crazy as it sounds, will be the Orlando Magic. I think the Orlando Magic isn't the top 10 team they had a couple years ago, or last year. But they really need to just say, just give up. Really, they got rid of Rafer Alston. Rafer Alston stepped in when Jameer Nelson got hurt last year, led them to the NBA Finals. But really, I got to give it. The Orlando Magic will be my biggest disappointment this year.
So you don't think they'll be just as good with Vince Carter?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think with Turkoglu leaving, bringing in Vince Carter, washed-up player, probably really has nothing to play for this year. I don't like that team going in this year.
My biggest disappointment is in the Eastern Conference. It's a team that by default made the playoffs, Philadelphia 76ers. They struggle scoring the basketball. They're young and they're athletic, but they need to really step it up offensively, and they're going to take a step back this year.
And another team to watch for, Portland Trail Blazers.
That'd be a surprise team. They're going to – remember, they finished 5th last year.
Yes, they did.
I think I got them really as a top 4 team. I got them winning the division, actually.
Okay. Let's go and jump into coaches. Coach of the year. Who's it going to be?
Coach of the year, it's a crazy thing to say, but judging, Mike Brown, Phil Jackson, things like that always comes up. Doc Rivers has a good team. Probably won't win it because of his team. But I think Coach of the Year is a guy, is a guy who exceeds expectation with his team. And I think with this year, I got to give it to Mike D'Antoni and the Knicks. I think the Knicks will win at least 35 games this year. So that may not be 500, but that's close to the 500 they've been in a long time. So I gotta say, Mike D'Antoni, look what he did with the Suns. Now has a really good nucleus in place over there with the Knicks. Probably should have stepped up and got Stephen Curry in the draft, but they didn't, and Golden State took him. But I gotta give it Mike D'Antoni Coach of the Year.
All right, my coach of the year is from a team that you just mentioned. You want to pick a guy who coaches a team that is, as Justin said, exceeding expectations and is doing, but at the same time was supposed to be good to begin with. So I'm going with Nate McMillan of the Trailblazers.
I totally agree. That was my coach of the year right there. I really believe that the Portland Trailblazers will surprise a lot of people this year. They're excellent. You never be careful because Brandon Roy can't be in the MVP running.
Yes, he can.
He can be in there.
All right, let's go ahead and real quickly into our champions right here. Let's go East and West champion. Doug, start us off.
All right, my East champion, with the addition of Rasheed Wallace, adding depth, help spread the court. I think Boston Celtics going to return to glory, head back to the NBA Finals.
Orlando Magic will return. Orlando Magic.
Trash. I'm going with the Boston Celtics. I mean, I think they'll match up with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Final. But I think Kendrick Perkins has more little athleticism than Shaquille O'Neal at this point in time. I think it's going to be one of those up and down kind of games, one of the kind of series they're going to be just constantly running. And does a Diesel have a respirator on the sideline? I don't think so.
I believe Orlando has made some big acquisitions during the offseason, and I really believe
Vince Carter. I mean, he can't dunk all the time.
What really helped them out, they were able to keep Gortat, and they were able to get Brandon Bass from the Mavericks.
Yeah. Okay.
And Petrus will step up this year.
All right, other side of basketball, Western Conference. What does he happen?
Oh man, I mean the Los Angeles Lakers by default would win this thing because they're just that good with the addition of Ron Artest. But how long does that relationship between Kobe and Ron Artest last? When Trevor Ariza, where Ron Artest took over, Trevor Ariza knew, hey look, Kobe's our number one. I'm not even number two. On this team, it's the same thing. Ron Artest is in number two on this team. Number two, Paul Gasol. Number three, Lamar Odom. You're talking about him being at number 4, right in front of Derek Fisher on that starting 5. So when I say right in front, I mean that much. And Ron Artest, what happens when he starts jacking up 3-pointers? What is Kobe gonna say? Get your butt on the sideline, son. And they're gonna be fighting. They're gonna be squabbling this shit. So it's gonna be tough. But I got them playing the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm gonna have to take LA against the Blazers.
Well, I'm picking a team that everybody probably has overlooked. I'm picking the San Antonio Spurs. I think the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs win it. Will be out of the championship talk for 2-3 years. Come back, win it again, leave it again. I think this is their year to go back to the NBA Finals. That's if everybody remains healthy.
The Spurs do look nice with the addition of Richard Jefferson. That is really nice, but the Lakers added Ron Artest. They have great depth there as well. Spurs are a bit better defensively, but I do like the Lakers to win the Western Conference. Now it's just a matter of can all those terrific personalities mesh long enough together to take them to the NBA Finals. Now, who's your champs, guys?
I love Florida. Love the state of Florida, but I was born in Texas. Picking the Spurs. If everybody remains healthy. If not, Orlando wins it all.
For right now, I have the rematch of 2 years ago, Lakers Celtics. Everybody says, well, the Lakers are better this year, but so are the Celtics. Ron Artest hasn't won a ring yet. Will continue this year, but he'll be in there. So I got to give it to the Boston Celtics.
I have to second that. I like the Celtics in a hard-fought 7-game series.